Daniel's whispers of the past, in the oppressive darkness of the dungeon. Daniel's despair was interrupted by a faint, almost ethereal whisper. "Daniel," the voice called softly, carrying a note of tenderness and familiarity that sent shivers down his spine. He opened his eyes, blinking against the gloom, straining to see the source of the voice. "Arya?" he whispered, his voice cracking with a mix of hope and disbelief. The dungeon was a place of torment and misery, and he feared his mind was playing cruel tricks on him. But then he saw her. Arya's apparition appeared before him, shimmering with a soft, otherworldly light. Her eyes, filled with the same love and kindness he remembered, looked into his, and her smile was a balm to his wounded soul. She seemed to float just above the cold stone floor, her presence a stark contrast to the bleakness of his surroundings. "Daniel," she said again, her voice clear and soothing. "You mustn't lose hope." He reached out, his fingers brushing through the air where she stood, but he felt nothing. His heart ached with longing and sorrow. "Arya, I'm so sorry. I failed you." Arya's apparition knelt beside him, her gaze never wavering. "You didn't fail me, Daniel. Our love was real, and it gave me strength. Remember that. Hold on to it." Her words brought back a flood of memories, happier times that seemed like lifetimes ago. He saw them together, walking hand in hand through sunlit fields, their laughter ringing out like music. He remembered the warmth of her embrace, the comfort of her presence. Those moments had been a sanctuary, a place where the world's darkness could not touch them. But now, those memories were a painful contrast to his current torment. The dungeon's cold, damp air clung to his skin, the weight of his chains a constant reminder of his imprisonment. The physical agony he endured was nothing compared to the emotional torment of knowing he had lost her. "Arya, what can I do?" he asked, his voice trembling. "How can I make things right?" "You must live, Daniel," she said, her voice firm but gentle. "You must find a way to break free. Honor our love by continuing to fight, by refusing to give in to despair." Her apparition began to fade, her light dimming. Panic surged through Daniel, and he reached out desperately. "Don't go, please, don't leave me again. I'm always with you," Arya whispered as she disappeared, her presence lingering like a faint echo in the dungeon. "Remember your strength, remember our love." As he approached the heavy door that led out of the dungeon, Daniel paused for a moment, closing his eyes and whispering a silent promise to Arya. "I will never forget you. I will honor our love. I will live." With a deep breath, he pushed the door open and stepped into the unknown, the darkness of the dungeon left behind. His journey was far from over, but he faced it with a heart full of hope and the strength of a love that would never die. Fueled by the memory of her words and the vision of her apparition, Daniel felt a renewed sense of determination. He could not let Arya's memory be tainted by his surrender to despair. He had to find a way to break free, to honor the love they had shared. With a surge of strength, Daniel began to struggle against his chains. The iron bit into his wrists and ankles, sending sharp jolts of pain through his body, but he ignored it. He pulled with all his might, his muscles straining, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The chains rattled and clanked, the sound reverberating through the dungeon. His efforts seemed futile at first, the manacles unyielding, but he refused to give up. He thought of Arya, of her smile, her laughter, the way she had looked at him with unwavering trust and love. Those memories fueled his resolve, giving him strength he hadn't known he possessed. He gritted his teeth, his muscles burning with the effort. Slowly, he felt the chains begin to give, the iron links straining against the force of his determination. With a final, desperate pull, one of the manacles snapped open, freeing his wrist. Encouraged by this small victory, Daniel attacked the remaining chains with renewed vigor. One by one, the manacles gave way, until he was finally free. He collapsed onto the floor, his body trembling with exhaustion. But his heart surged with a newfound sense of hope and purpose. Daniel struggled to his feet, his body weak and battered, but his spirit unbroken. He knew the way out of the dungeon would be fraught with danger and difficulty. But he was determined to escape, to honor Arya's memory, by living the life they had dreamed of together. With Arya's voice still echoing in his mind, Daniel moved towards the dungeon's entrance, his steps unsteady but resolute. He would find a way to survive, to break free from the darkness that had claimed him. He would carry Arya's love with him, a beacon of light guiding him through the shadows.